This is Shelley Craft coming to you live on SNN Live. We're coming to you live from the Planet MicroCap Showcase at the Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas. I have with me Robert Cook, the Senior VP of the Canadian Securities Exchange, also known as the CSE. Robert, welcome to SNN Live.
Thank you very much, Shelley. Pleasure to be here. I was here last year, enjoyed it, and it was worth coming back.
Well, thank you very much for saying that. So let's start out with an overview of the CSE, if you would.
All right. The CSE is a stock exchange for entrepreneurs. We call ourselves the Exchange for Entrepreneurs. We list companies at a very early stage of development. We give them a well-regulated market in which their shares can trade, and we charge them very low fees. So we have a lot of happy customers, and they're getting financed, and their stocks are trading quite a bit. We've had...
Well, let me stop you for a second.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I want to make perfectly clear to our audience, you don't just list Canadian companies. So I want to, let's find out some of the types of companies that get listed, where they come from. You're more of an international exchange than anything.
Yes, we don't discriminate on the basis of where the company's incorporated or where they operate. We list companies from anywhere, predominantly from Canada, because that's where we're located. And when companies are fairly small, they tend to find financing closer to home. But that being said, we also have a lot of U.S. companies that trade in our market.
So what makes it so ripe for the Canadian Securities Exchange that companies are running to you to get listed?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is that there's been a resurgence in a lot of the mineral commodities, which has really helped a lot of the mining exploration companies get financed, which is great. We also have a burgeoning cannabis sector, where we've got over 40 companies, which would be 15% of our list, that are in the cannabis sector in some way, shape, or form. Probably half of them don't get anywhere near the plant, but they could be a technology company. There's one that is developing a breathalyzer to detect THC, and there's others that are supplying equipment to marijuana growers. So there's quite a bit of interest in that sector at the moment, and our trading has been very robust over the past about 9 months. We've seen quite an increase in the level of trading, and the liquidity on our exchange is second to none now.
So, Rob, let me ask you, do you have any recent news that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, well, we always have good news. Yeah. But we recently released our Q1 results, and I've got them in front of me as a reminder. So if we compare the first quarter of this year with 2016, our trading volume tripled, which is a very big event, and the value went up almost 8 times. So the value of the trading. And at the same time, our companies raised $160 million, which in itself was an increase of almost 300%. So companies are trading actively, and they're getting financed when they're listed on the CSE.
Now, these companies that are listed on the CSE, are some of them trading in, on other exchanges and getting the benefits from starting on the CSE and then, potentially getting dual listings?
Right. Several of our companies trade in U.S. over-the-counter markets, primarily on the OTC Markets Group boards, because it makes it easier for U.S. investors to access the trading there. We also have close to a third of our companies are trading in Europe. Most of them would be on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange because they've developed a following with European investors.
So now, from the investor standpoint and from a company standpoint, they could literally just go right to the Canadian Securities Exchange, the CSE, and find that information about these companies and, potentially find out how to list on them, et cetera, right?
Right. We have a web page for every company, which gives investors access to all of their continuous disclosure, basic information about the company, a link to the company's website, and we will show the order book on our website as well as the last 5 trades on a 15-minute delayed basis. But you get really good exposure to what is the market in that security, and also what does this company do.
So we had a whole bunch of companies here at this conference.
Yeah.
And have you met with companies? I mean, obviously, what's been your experience with some of the companies you've met?
Well, the private companies that we've met here have been very interested in what we have to offer because they can go public in Canada even if they're domiciled in the United States. We've seen that happen in several cases already. And then some of the public companies that we've talked to that are already public in the United States. I've talked to one that's already public in Canada on another stock exchange, would like to move over. And we've also had half a dozen of our own companies that are listed on the CSE have attended this. And I've had really good meetings with them because we like to stay in touch with them. And they're getting a very good response here as well.
So that means this was a successful conference for you.
Yes, it was.
Rob, how many companies are listed on the CSE?
There's approximately 300 companies that are listed. There'd be about 320 securities that trade.
And how many companies are in your index?
The index has close to 100 companies in it. It's a market capitalization weighted index. So we've seen a lot of companies join in the past 2 rebalances, which we do quarterly, because the market capitalization of a lot of companies has risen so that they do qualify for the index. The index itself, you can see on our website. We display it actually on the home page, and you can see the direction that it's taking. You can get access to the list. It's not heavily weighted in any one particular company or sector, but there's quite a substantial portion that are in technology. And there are many that are in very diverse industries. So we actually have a sector called diversified industries. We also have mining, oil and gas, and life sciences. But as a junior market, we're quite pleased with the level of technology companies and their success that you can see in our index.
You know what? I think it's time let's get your website out there for our viewer audience to go and check it out.
Okay. Our website is thecse.com, thecse.com. And you can find anything you need to know about the CSE, probably including my email address on there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Cook, Senior VP at the Canadian Securities Exchange, also known as the CSE. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNN Live, and we're coming to you live from the Planet MicroCap Showcase 2017 at Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas. And let me thank you personally for being a sponsor at the Planet MicroCap.
Enjoyed it. Great. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.